Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Leslie Tavernier once again. I am a dark feminine love coach for women who are in love with a dark masculine man. In other words, women who are anxiously attached to an avoidant man or a narcissistic man. I help those women to have a healthy, loving, committed relationship with said man. Once again, today I have with me here my dark masculine man. So, Rakim, can you please introduce yourself to us?
Yes, I am Rakim Sekou, given name Carly Stevens Jr., metaphysician, tantric practitioner, relationship coach. I support women and men in manifesting what they want in their relationships. Peace and blessings.
So good to have you here. So today we're going to address two main topics. The first one is going to be monogamy, because I know that a lot of women who follow me and a lot of women who follow you, they want to have a monogamous relationship with their dark masculine man. And we're also going to talk about men's sexual health, which we touched on a few previous episodes, but we're going to go even deeper into the topic. So, first question. In a previous episode, we spoke about the dark feminine staying passionate, sexually passionate for her dark masculine man in a long-term monogamous relationship. And you asked me how that could come about. And I said, well, I feel that in order for that to be a success, she would need to be a priestess of the dark feminine, like really committed to her craft. And you also suggested things like, spending time apart, traveling separately, having a really great understanding of herbs and foods that really nourish him and keep him strong and virile. And even sometimes letting him have sex with other women, which I know your listeners and my listeners probably don't like hearing that, but it is what it is. So I want to go a little bit deeper with this. My question to you, I want to ask you, because you're a polyamorous man, you've been polyamorous for 20 years, I think. Um, what factors would cause you specifically to be monogamous long term with one woman?
That's a great question. So, I wouldn't use monogamy as the term. I get what you're saying, but I would call it choosing to be exclusive with my
Okay.
partner. What would cause me to do that? Number one, if I have a great connection with that partner. And she's really able to, support me in where I am in my life at that time. Sexually nurturing me, being a friend, being a confidant, being somebody who just really helps me, move from where I am now and is supporting me to get into the next place in my life. So I feel if I'm getting all those particular needs met and the timing is right and it feels really good and it feels authentic to me, to be exclusive in that way, then I'm willing to do it. I'm not against being exclusive with any partner. You know what I mean? Like if it's the right thing, if it feels right, then I'll go for it. That being said, I will always reserve the right to not be exclusive at some point in the future. But one of the things about being open is, the exclusivity kind of structure for relationships is something that we also get to enjoy being open relators. And basically, the determining factor is, does it feel right? Is it the right thing? Is it the right timing? I have no issues at all being exclusive with any particular partner at any particular time in my life. I've always been willing to do that.
Mhm.
I don't have a fear around it. I don't shy away from it. The difference between where I am in the open relating kind of scheme of things is that I don't believe exclusivity is an automatic thing or the automatic right structure. It can be, and I've always supported people in choosing that and being that. But oftentimes, the people that we come in contact with and that we date and that we meet, they're not really meant to be long-term exclusive partnerships. And people see that in the fact that most of their relationships actually fail. Not marriages, but when you add up all the relationships that people have over time, most of them end up not lasting for eternity,
Mhm.
which proves you were not supposed to be, in an exclusive, long-term, lifetime committed situation with that person. So
Mhm.
I look at each person, each situation, and I judge it based on that.
Great answer. So, I'm going to ask you now, what are some general recommendations for women who desire to have a sexually exclusive relationship with their dark masculine man? Now, I'm going to give you some scenarios, but first, just give us your general recommendations, and then we'll get into more specific scenarios.
So if a woman wants to be exclusive with her dark masculine male,
And she wants him to be exclusive to her, like exclusive both ways.
Yeah, well, first of all, if she wants to be exclusive with her dark masculine and have him be exclusive to her, then that's usually going to be a long-term proposition. Meaning, the reason why you're attracted to him and the reason why you're turned on by him and the reason why you've labeled him a dark masculine is because he's amazing sexually. He's not amazing sexually because he's not having sex with people. He's amazing because he has a lot of women that he's with, historically and presently, right? And so that's who he is. That's what makes him a powerful sexual being. The fact that he has all these experiences, the fact that he doesn't turn down women and those types of things. Now, if you want to be exclusive with him, you have to actually be somebody who is a friend and a confidant and somebody who does not judge him and somebody who does not nag him and somebody who actually loves him for who he is, including the women that he loves to date and including who he is as a sexual being. Like you actually have to genuinely love this particular man. Most women do not genuinely love their dark masculine man. They're intrigued by him, they're captivated by him, they're turned out by him, and all these things, and therefore they want to possess him. What most of these women are talking about as love is really possession. It's really attachment. It's really trying to keep something all for themselves that they want, that they crave, that they covet. So you have to genuinely love him. You got to show up as a friend, as a confidant. Okay. So if you're able to do that as a woman, you're able to actually love this man and show up in a very solid, authentic way. Then what's going to happen is eventually he's going to go through some things that are going to cause him to want to grow spiritually, grow past some of his traumas, some of his patterns, which is what we all end up going through at some point anyway. And if you're able to be there for him during that time, that will eventually bond him to you in a way where he's going to see you above all other women he's dealt with because you've gone through a very serious spiritual undertaking with him, a very serious growth undertaking with him, and now he's elevated you, right? So first, again, step one, you have to actually love this man. Most women do not love their dark masculine, but if you actually love him and respect him, and you can tell that you actually love him because he's not triggering you. You love all the ways he moves, all the things that he does, all the ways he communicates and doesn't communicate, all those things. So if you actually love him, then when you go through the spiritual growth and development process with him, which he's going to choose to do, you can't force it on him, then he will see you as somebody above all other women he's ever been with, and he will be bonding with you and be willing to be exclusive with you. Outside of that, no.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, so a lot of women are dating a dark masculine man who's already married.
Mhm.
So in that scenario, how could she get him to be exclusive with her?
It's the same exact way. I mean, there's no difference. I mean, if the dark masculine's married and she wants to be married with him and she wants to be exclusive and with him and him be exclusive with her, it's the same thing. She has to be his friend. She has to actually love and respect him, which includes her loving and respect the fact that he has a wife, he has a family, and honoring that. Being with him is going to not be something where you're taking him away from his situation. No, it's him choosing to be with you because you are a more elevated woman than the woman he's with now, in a more elevated situation for where he is in his life at this particular time. That's really the proper outlook. It's not like, you know what I'm saying, like he's upset or mad at his current situation and that kind of thing. No, you want to be somebody who is him elevating, him vibrating higher. And the way that happens is by him actually going through some spiritual growth and development, by him facing certain, toxic patterns that he's dealt with in the past. And so as he's doing that with you, you see what I'm saying? And you're actually loving him and taking care of him and supporting him and not judging him and not stressing him out on all those things. As you go through that process with him, then you elevate with him and he's going to see you as somebody who is the next phase of his life. He's going to see his current situation as, hey, it was a beautiful thing. We created a great family together. We did all these wonderful things together, but I'm a new man now and I need a new woman who's going to be with me in the next phase of my life. That's how you have to look at it. But again, like I said before, a lot of women don't actually love their dark masculine man. They just want to possess him because they want to be, possessive. And they want that attachment, or they have that fear of not being, seen as a viable woman or a worthy woman. But no, if you love him and you're willing to grow with him and you're willing to connect with him, then he absolutely will see you as a potential next partner or next wife. And that's how you could actually be with him. And again, you could actually be exclusive with him. He'd be willing to do that because he sees you on this elevated level.
Here's another common scenario. So in this case, they are monogamous, or they've sort of kind of agreed to monogamy, but she's very worried that he might cheat. How does a woman like, how does she ensure that he won't? Okay, I'll give you an example. And I see this a lot. So I saw this in a Facebook group today of women, and one of the women, she was saying that she saw her man, she saw that he had liked a picture of another woman, and he also put three fire emojis in the comment section of her picture. And so she went off on him because, she took that as like a threat, that, oh, why are you liking this other woman on Instagram? So when a woman is in that kind of space where she's worried that he's not going to be faithful sexually, what should she do?
Well, first of all, if she wants her man to be faithful to her and she's worried about it, it shows that she needs to go on to initiatory path of becoming a dark feminine woman because she's too insecure and she has no power. And that's really where the insecurity comes from. It's not really about him. It's the fact that she realizes she has no power. She doesn't believe in herself. She doesn't really believe that, the things about her that have attracted this man are something that are sustainable and something that are worthy and valuable. And so she needs to go on a path where she's actually stepping into her dark feminine self. Okay. She needs to develop confidence. She needs to develop power. She needs to, be in a place where she realizes that she's worthy of love and worthy of companionship. Okay. So the fact that she's concerned about him liking pictures and those types of things, that's an indication of her insecurity. Okay. So if she wants to create a situation where her man is with her and connected to her and all those things, you have to develop your dark feminine energy, your dark feminine consciousness. You got to do the things that allow you to be a confident, powerful woman in the world. And that includes studying the dark feminine. That includes getting into the practices of the dark feminine, like the deep, deep practice, like you've described before on the podcast and previous episodes. So these are the things that she has to do. It's the only path. She can't nag him into exclusivity. She can't nag him and shame him into not liking pictures and getting off of Facebook and these social media platforms. That's like a young, immature, insecure woman. Those women have no power. They're always going to end up on the wrong side of the infidelity equation. You see what I'm saying? So until she actually gets into her power, until she actually becomes that dark feminine woman, she's always going to feel threatened, and not just by her dark masculine man, but by any man. She's insecure by nature, so she
Mhm.
needs to exercise that insecurity out of her. She needs to learn what being confident is all about as a woman, and until she does that, then she's on a path or road to ruin.
So I'm going to give you two other similar scenarios. So it's where they've agreed to monogamy, but she found out some way or the other that he's still looking at porn, or he's still on the dating sites, but he's not telling her. And another scenario that I also see with women is where they've agreed to monogamy, but she strongly feels that he is actually seeing another woman and he's lying to her about it. So again, when women find themselves in these scenarios, what do they do?
Well, yeah, I mean, again, when a woman finds herself in a scenario and her husband's watching porn on dating sites and potentially dating somebody else, again, the whole thing is within her. She's not really inside of her power as a woman. First of all, human beings are not monogamous. So it's almost impossible for any human being to not really be in the desire to be attracted to other people and enjoy the beauty and enjoy those attractions, those types of things. So the social media stuff, even the porn stuff, is kind of a part of that. Now, there's a difference between watching some porn here and there versus porn addiction. Usually when men are porn addicted, it's because they're not fully satisfied inside of their current situation. And instead of actually going out and cheating, they're supplementing their lack of satisfaction with porn. You see what I'm saying? So, what should she do? She needs to be more inside of her power. She needs to also understand that she doesn't understand like really human nature and human psychology. She needs to understand that, study that, and have some empathy and some compassion and some realistic expectations around her man and the things that he's able to do and why he's doing these things and really work with him, be a partner with him, actually love this person. If he's feeling lonely, if he's feeling unfulfilled as his wife, you should be able to support him in that and talk about it. And even if you guys seek counsel together or whatever, like you should be a friend to him in that way. But most of these women are not that. They're too insecure in themselves to actually support their husband, their life partner, in some things that he might be going through. You see what I'm saying? So, it's really about education. There's a lot of things that women need to do in this situation. Just coming into a higher state of consciousness and getting out of this like little girl attitude when it comes to relationships and dating. Like you have to be a woman, be a grown woman. Like this is real life that we're talking about. You can't just pitch a fit every time your husband does something you don't like. No, be his friend, be his partner. Like let's talk about let's like how can I support you? Like what do we need to do? Like I want this to work out for both of us. I'm willing to expand my mind and beyond the way I'm looking at life and relationships as they currently are. Like I'm willing to grow. Like let's grow together. Like she has to be a partner to him. He's not a slave. He's not a pet. He's not somebody that you can put into a cage and just dictate to. That's not how human beings are. We don't respond well to that. This is your husband. You have to love him, support him, have compassion, and work with him so that you all can have the marriage you're looking for.
Great answer. So, your second wife, your ex-wife, from my understanding, wanted sexual exclusivity with you permanently. And you agreed to that for about a year. And then you chose to no longer agree to that. So, given that you are open to the possibility of exclusivity with one woman, what else could she have done to get you to agree to exclusivity permanently?
Yeah, I feel if our number one, if our sexual connection was better, then it would have been a possibility. Um, so that was number one. Number two, I didn't feel she had a liking of me. I know she loved me, you know what I'm saying? But I know she didn't have a liking of me. I just posted a quote, a very interesting quote on my Facebook private group. It was a quote from Tekashi 6ix9ine. He's a rapper.
I love
And
him.
he said that when you break up with someone, the bad things they say about you after the breakup is what they've always thought about you, even
Oh,
when
that's
they were
deep.
with you. You see what I'm saying?
Whew.
And so if you were, and I haven't really looked at my ex's social media, but I just heard a couple things here and there. But when you look at some of the things that she said, like that's how she's always thought about me. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like one of the things I heard her say was that, well, Rakim said he was a fuckboy. And so when I came into that realization, you see what I'm saying? I was like,
Mhm.
oh, she doesn't like who I am as a person. You see what I'm saying? And so when I came to that, like I can't be exclusive with somebody who doesn't like me or doesn't have like that kind of level of respect or reverence for me. You see what I'm saying? Even if you love me, loving is different. Liking is like very important. Both of those components are very important in terms of relationships. And so when I came to that realization, that's when I said I can't be exclusive with her. Now, if she liked me and our sexual connection was pretty solid, then it would have been no problem, being exclusive with her. I would have been willing to do it, no problem. Um,
Mhm.
but I have to have like I said, there's certain basic things that have to be there. I'm
Mhm.
perfectly willing to do it, but it has to be with somebody who like is really into me, like really, wants to be with Rakim and not just possess me or not just be with me because of whatever. You see what I'm saying? Like it has to be solid. It has to be real. You know what I'm saying? And so that's my determining factor when it comes to stuff like that.
Wow. Thank you for such a vulnerable answer, Rakim. Now, in a previous episode, you did say that you could tell by looking at a lot of women on their social media profile that you could tell if they really actually are dark feminine or not. So, what factors let you know right off the bat that a woman has not cultivated her dark feminine power?
Yeah, when you look at a woman, when I look at a woman, you can kind of see in terms of how she presents herself. So one thing about a dark feminine woman, she's going to present herself in a very real, authentic way, and she's not going to do it in a way that she's worried about if people like her or not.
Mm,
You can kind of see that. You see what I'm saying? Like I can tell, like certain women, they want you to like them and like their hair and like their style, and you see what I'm saying? And the way they're presenting themselves and the way they move in their videos, it's you can see that very plainly. Or some women, they're really not into like being liked and accepted, but they just kind of have more of a, like a mothering or kind of wife type energy where they seem very caring. They really want everybody to be okay, like that kind of energy. That's more like divine feminine.
mhm,
Dark feminine women, when they present themselves, they give a fuck what you think about them. Like their attitude, they just have this attitude of perspective. And also I can kind of see you got to look past what's being presented, right? So like there's the initial layer, right? That you look and you see the person's face and their clothing, but then behind that, you got to read the energy behind that.
mhm,
Sometimes behind that, I can see like that ruthlessness. If I don't see
mhm,
that ruthlessness in the woman, like if I can't tell, like you will fuck a dude over to get what you want, or you will, tell a woman to fuck off. You see what I'm
mhm,
saying? In a minute. Like if I don't see that in you, and that's an energy, right?
mhm,
If I don't see that in you, then you're not a dark feminine. And
mhm,
again, not that, it's not like a mean thing per se. It's just a no nonsense thing. It's like I'm not taking any shit type of thing.
mhm,
It's about me type of thing. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I look for when I look for dark feminine. Now, the other feminine archetypes, the enlightened feminine and the divine feminine, those are beautiful too. Like the dark feminine is not better than those other two. But in
right.
terms of what I'm looking for when I judge, like if a woman's a dark feminine, an enlightened feminine, or a divine feminine, I read their energy, their presentation, and I look behind what's actually being presented on the surface, and I read that energy as well, and that's what I'm really using to judge which archetype they're more strong in.
Excellent answer. So, switching gears now, I'd like for us to speak more about men's sexual health, because that's a topic I'm very passionate about, and you've been talking about it lately. And I feel that society at large does not give hardly any attention to men's sexual health. It's almost like it's being completely ignored. So, most people, from my perspective, don't seem to realize that a lot of men, especially as they get into their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, um, suffer from things like erectile dysfunction. A lot of men suffer from premature ejaculation. And I've encountered a lot of men who've had prostate cancer or lymph node cancer where they had to have like one of their testicles removed. Like I've seen that like up close with more than one man where their testicle is gone because they had cancer. Um, and a lot of men, they have low quality semen or they can't even produce semen anymore. They have no semen. And also, and this is something that most people I think they don't know about, but a lot of men lose their sensitivity in their penis. And they need a lot of friction applied to their penis in order to climax, in order to ejaculate. And that's, oh my God, that's very frustrating because I have been with men like that where like I could use my own hand on their penis and I can stroke them as fast as I could possibly go. And it's still not enough. They need to use their own hand to go even faster, to stroke even faster to get themselves off. This is happening, Rakim, to men. And so my question to you is, what are some of the ways that you feel that we collectively can address these concerns?
Yeah, that's a lot. You know, uh, in terms of the men with the desensitized penises, that's just over masturbation. So that's the issue with the porn kind of thing that's going on, is men are not just watching porn, they're masturbating to it. And that desensitizes your penis. There's no other way to say it. You know what I'm saying? Now, a lot of men don't understand why that's a problem. It's a problem because now the penis becomes not only desensitized, but now it becomes accustomed to a certain level of friction and force.
Mhm.
that really mimics a hand. You see what I'm saying? When really you want the penis to be, um, you know, kind of from an energetic standpoint, aligned with a vagina, which is soft and wet. You see what I'm saying? And so what happens, like you're changing the actual like physical state of the penis. And it's horrible for intercourse with a woman. You see what I'm
Mhm.
saying? The same thing with women, like when women overly masturbatory when it comes to, electronic toys on their
Mhm.
clitoris. It desensitizes the clitoris. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And so first thing is, us understanding that these things have a particular effect. Number two is, we just have a lot of education we got to do around sex and sexuality. A lot of these men, they don't hold women in high regard. That is a problem. That's going to affect you sexually as a man. You have to look at women as, beautiful, as a gift, as your counterpart, as your complement. You see what I'm saying? Like you have to really embrace, the beauty of the feminine and the role she plays in your life. A lot of men are having sexual issues because they're not cultivating feminine energy. It's really feminine energy that's part of the way that you become virile as a man. You see what I'm
Mhm.
saying? I know we think it's all masculine, but no, it's like there's a certain, vulnerability to love and to connection that's required to allow you to be really present in the sexual experience. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of men have issues with that. They have issues with loving women and being connected to women, and that's going to affect you sexually. Erectile dysfunction, that has a lot to do with a lot of things.
Yeah.
Number one, diet, as you already know, diet's very important. But like especially the American diet, and the food here in America is some of the worst food in the world.
Mhm.
The quality of it, it's really bad quality. In addition to that, a lot of men don't have enough access to sex.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like we really need a more realistic view on sexuality in this country. Like men need to be having sex regularly, and that's why, to me, the Netherlands and some of the European countries are ahead of the curve by legalizing prostitution
Mhm.
so that men actually have access to sex and intimacy, and women do too. You know what I mean? But a lot of men are just a lot of men. We have like an incel crisis in this
Mhm.
country, and if
Mhm.
you're not using your penis, then the law of use says if you don't use it, it's going to go away. So a lot of men are not using their penises, and they're not using them properly, and so that's going to lead to erectile dysfunction. It's going to lead to like what you were saying about the inability to produce semen, all these types of things.
Mhm.
Um, and to be honest, like men, we need to like in the dating scenario, unfortunately, we connect sex to relationships, like that's the expectation. We don't really acknowledge that we need to be having enough casual sex. This is for men and women. We need to be having more casual sex. You see what I'm saying? Where there's not a lot of, where you don't have to lie and all that kind of stuff, where you're just like, look, I want to connect with you and, I really, feel strongly toward you, like a strong attraction, all that. And like, it's okay to come together and have casual sex without any kind of shame or guilt.
Mhm.
That to me is going to help, men and women have like kind of a healthy sexual, system, reproductive system. So I think just stuff like that, like, in our country, because of religion, like the stuff is all messed up, man. Just the
Mhm.
way we suppress sexuality, the way we shame people for their sexuality. Like these are the reasons why men are having so many issues and women too. But the big one, I would say, if I could give men like two pieces of advice, stop masturbating so much to porn. And
Mhm.
two, learn to respect and honor the feminine. You know what I'm saying? To like really learn to connect with her vulnerably, authentically, and connect with the women who want to connect with you. Like, don't hold out for some woman on Instagram who's like not in your league. You see what I'm saying? Like, just connect with women. Like, women are beautiful. Like, stop trying to just classify yourself with certain types of women. It's a waste of time. It's not realistic. Just, accept where you're at within your masculinity and within, your community in terms of how you're looked at by women, and just accept those friendships and those connections, and you'll grow from there. So those are my two pieces of advice for men.
So my next question is about incels. So men that are involuntarily celibate, and they're in the millions. They number in the millions, Rakim, and they're in their 20s.
Yeah.
and 30s and 40s, but many are in their 20s. And, Nick Fuentes, he
Hmm.
is also an incel, and he agrees with you that men are looking at porn way too much. He does feel that it's damaging. But he's not dating anyone, and I think he's probably in his late 20s. And so, what advice would you give to a man like Nick Fuentes, or a young man in his 20s who doesn't have a girlfriend, who's not having sex, whose only access to sexuality is porn? What would you say to a 20-something-year-old?
Yeah, I would say specifically to Nick Fuentes, like you need to go out and get some pussy, man. Like you not connecting with women in a healthy way, in a sexual way, is really warping your worldview. There's no way you can have a balanced worldview if you don't have a healthy relationship with the feminine. And when I say healthy relationship, it's like I said, the respect, the honor, all those things, but also the sexual component with multiple women. Doesn't have to be a whole lot, but like multiple women. You see what I'm saying? Like that's how you get to know and understand the feminine component. That's how you get to know and understand and respect women by actually interacting with them from points A to all the way to point Z. So he needs to get out there and actually get some pussy. My issue with a lot of these incels is like, and society doesn't understand this, the incels will destroy the country.
Oh, wow.
Like these men are so angry. Like this is how the white supremacist movements get fueled. Like these men are so angry and so sexually frustrated that they will destroy everything. Like people don't understand that. Like people don't understand like these males that you see online, they're angry and they're frustrated and they're going hard at women. Like these are the men who prevented Kamala Harris from becoming president. These are the men who like they hate women, like they're celebrating like these SNAP benefits being ended here in the United States because of the government shutdown. Like they want to see women suffer and they will destroy the entire country to get back at what they perceive as a slight from the woman population. So we need to, we need healthier views around relationships around sexuality in this country. Because right now we're destroying ourselves because of our warped views around women, our warped views around what sex is. We don't acknowledge it as a need. So there's really no real sex education. There's really no ways for people to really connect. A lot of men, especially young men, and I can speak to this me personally, like
Mhm.
growing up, like we were terrified to talk to girls. You see what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like it's it's one of the most terrifying things I've ever faced before in my entire life.
Mhm.
Like approaching a girl. This is before I had any experience. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Approaching a girl. So on one side, I have pressure from my male peer group because I'm a virgin or don't have a lot of experience, and they're acting like they have all this experience. So we have this really weird pressure that we put on our own peer group, and then to actually approach a woman because men have to learn to get rejected. And so that's our first real initiation into rejection. So rejection is a part of life. We all get rejected. You see what I'm saying? But when you're going through that as a young man, like it's terrifying.
Mhm.
So a lot of men just never go through that initiation. They're like, forget that. I won't get rejected. I'll just hang out with men or play video games all day or be mad at the world. You see what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like, but those men, those males grow up to be adults, like in adult bodies, and they become, so now you have a child, right, who's scared of rejection inside of an adult body, and they're going to destroy the entire country. They'll destroy everything. They'll destroy families, community, they'll destroy everything. And so that's the point that Nick doesn't understand. Like a lot of these men, that's why a lot of Republicans are like down low gay. Like Nick spoke on that too. A lot of Republicans are on down low gay. And the reason why is because they don't have healthy relationships with women. And again, nothing wrong with being gay, right? But being on the down low about it is the issue, right? So it's like, well, you're on the down low because you're ashamed of your sexuality. There's certain things about your feminine nature you haven't come to grips with that you're running away from. There's a lack of respect for women, and you're portraying yourself one way, but deep inside, you're suffering. And so you're on grinder. You know what I'm saying? They say grinder screeches to a halt every Republican convention, so, or CPAC convention. You see what I'm saying? So these individuals, they don't really understand life, and because of their warped views around women and sexuality, the entire world and the entire country suffers. This is the whole thing behind war too. Like a lot of these leaders, like you all need to get some pussy, man. You're saying like you need to interact with women, like have a healthier relationship with the feminine because you're angry. You see what I'm saying? You're upset. You're jaded, and you're
Mm,
taking it out on the rest of us.
mm,
So, the Nick Fuentes thing is interesting. Him and a lot of people in the conservative movement, they're just pent up, man, and they're making everybody else suffer as a result.
wow. Yeah, I heard that not only are a lot of Republicans like on the down low, but they're also interested in transvestites or transsexual. Because I know they complain a lot about the idea of transgender men competing in women's sports, but apparently some Republicans secretly, there was one that was outed. He was he was getting involved with transgender men. But I also heard this other thing about this politician in Texas. I don't remember his name. I don't even know if he's still a politician. But he apparently he had written this law about abortion, like to make it more strict. And then this woman outed him, and she was saying that she's a stripper, and he had been having sex with her, and she had gotten pregnant by him 3 times. And every single time he took her to an abortion clinic, and he paid for the abortion cash so as not to trace it back to him.
Hmm.
Meanwhile, he wrote the law
Right.
to make abortion more difficult to access.
Have you heard that saying before? Thou protesteth too much. You know what I'm saying? Basically saying like the people who are really angry at gay people, at trans, at women, at abortion, like it's unnatural. Like, what are you really angry about? You see what I'm saying? Like, usually the people you can be against whatever, but the fact that you push so hard against these things, it really points back to you. There's something going on with you. Like, you got to resolve some stuff within you. So yeah, I heard that story about the Texas person. There's also a woman in Florida. I don't know if you heard about her, but she's like a really staunch Republican. She ended up getting pregnant after they passed the 6-week abortion law. You see what I'm saying? So she went to the Governor DeSantis and was like, "Yo, you gotta make an exception for me." We're like, "What the fuck?" You see what I'm saying? Like these people are crazy as hell. So these people got issues. It's very obvious to see. But yeah, you can tell by the way they really push against some of these issues that they have internal hang-ups themselves.
I like what you said about men, young men being willing to face rejection, and that's just part of their growth. Um, because not all incels are angry per se. Well, not angry in the way that you're describing, where they're going to destroy the whole country. Because both of my sons, they're in their 20s, and I don't consider them to be angry, but they're still virgins, and I feel like for a lot of young men, they kind of just they go into a bit of a depression, and they just they play their video games, and they just kind of give up on the possibility of dating because they don't know how to even approach a woman. And what would you say to those young men who like they literally don't know how to approach a woman?
Yeah, I think, to be honest, I think most boys and
Mhm.
young men need support and assistance to connect with women. So part of it's education, you know what I'm saying? Like teaching, young men to not be so intimidated by women and learning about rejection and it's okay for her to laugh at you or to say no or you see what I'm saying like the education's important. The initiation's also important, like being initiated into adulthood where you learn some of these things and we help you overcome these fears through real life scenarios, right? But also, like I was saying, I think men need support. Like I think, like some older men or more experienced men take some younger men and, take them to what's the country where prostitution is legal and in Europe,
Netherlands.
the Netherlands, but there's another one that's more famous. But yeah, and like, like look, let's get you some experience. And
Mm.
not just experience with like any woman. Like I think it would be great if men can get their early experiences with like very experienced women who can kind of like teach them and instruct them.
Yeah.
Like I think we all need sexual education. Like I didn't know what the hell I was doing sexually. I still don't. I'm still trying to figure shit out. You know what I'm saying? Like we all need sexual education, men and women.
Mm.
It's so complex, and people have so many different like likes and desires and needs and stuff like that. And we end up watching porn to learn or
Yeah.
movies or whatever. You see what I'm saying? Like we really need to be educated on the real deal around sexuality. I think it helped cut down on things like teen pregnancy and unwanted pregnancy. I think it helped cut down on just a lot of people being jaded inside relationships. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Mhm.
So I think that's what's really needed is like mentors and
Yeah.
guidance and education for these young men.
Yeah. Great point. So, how can men let go of their addiction to masturbation and porn? How did you stop? Because I know you used to masturbate. You used to look at porn in your teens or early 20s. So, how did you stop doing that?
Well, the way I stopped masturbating was I realized so I was big into meditation when I was in spiritual culture.
Mhm.
Um, and the thing was, I was very kind of more in touch with myself. So I was able to notice some things about myself. What I noticed is every time I masturbated and ejaculated, that I would be tired as hell afterwards. Like I would be drained. I'm
Wow.
like, man, why am I so tired? So I think it's just because I ejaculated, right? But then when I would have sex with a woman and ejaculate, like intercourse, I was not as tired or drained. I was still tired, like you're tired after sex on whatever level, right? But
Mhm.
I was not nearly as tired. Then I got into like Tantra, right? Where I started experimenting, right? So it's like I would do things like have sex with the woman, but keep my penis inside the vagina until it was all the way soft, right?
Mhm.
So I'm being nurtured in that way, and now I'm actually a little bit energized after sex, or I might, nurse on her breasts after sex.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? So that's like giving me energy. So now it's like I'm rebalancing, or there was some there was some breathing and meditation things I used to do after sex where I would circulate my chi. And so I would experiment. And so I
Mhm.
realized, you know what? Masturbation is like that is if I just want to like throw energy away, and throw
Mhm.
vitality away, then I masturbate. I get nothing in return. Like I get a what, 15-second kind of feel good response while the
Yeah.
ejaculation's happening. But after that, I have like a day and a half, 2 day, even a 3 day recovery time before I'm back to where I was before when I masturbated. So
Mhm.
I just realized that. I'm never masturbating again. The only time I had broken that rule was when I would be having like phone sex with women, like long distance partnerships. So,
Mhm.
we'd be on like video call or whatever, and I would do some masturbation in that case. But outside of that, no, I'm not masturbating. So, in terms of how to get out of it, so when you cut masturbation off and porn off as an option, what happens is you're forced to become more skilled at actually connecting with women. You know what I'm saying? And acquiring real sexual connections. So I didn't have like a cheat code to get to like just get myself pleased really quick with masturbation. I'd actually meet women and talk
Mhm.
to women and stuff like that. So I became like really proficient at talking to women. I worked on my masculinity, so I attracted more women. You see what I'm saying? So that's what
Mhm.
happens if you cut masturbation out and cut porn out. You'll be forced because the desire doesn't go away, but you'll be forced to actually learn how to talk to women. You'll
Mhm.
be forced to prioritize real sexual connection as opposed to like just a cheap way out. And again, I'm not trying to shame people who like to masturbate. I'm just saying like the people you're talking about, these are chronic masturbators and it's affecting their sexuality, it's affecting their ability to get hard or enjoy intercourse with a partner. Like if you're
Mhm.
doing it that much, and especially because you can't connect with the opposite sex, and that's a problem. But if you're doing it like get by because you're horny or whatever, like that's cool. But for me, that's why I had to stop it. When I realized I was losing that kind of energy, and I don't have a lot of energy to give away. Like I'm not like one of these high frequency people like to have sex 3 or 4 times a day and stuff like that. I'm not built like that. So I can't afford to masturbate and have low energy. I'm trying to work and do projects and write books. I can't afford it. I need sexual connection that's going to feed me, that's going to help energize me, and masturbation is not it.
Wow. So my next question is, how can married men, or even just, men who are in a monogamous dating scenario, how can they gain the courage to let their wife or girlfriend know that they would like to have sex with women outside of the marriage or outside of the relationship? Because I know that a lot of men They don't believe that they can tell their wife or girlfriend their truth, and so they choose to lie. So this is a hard thing for men, Rakim. So how can they overcome that fear and just say what it is that they desire?
That's a great question. I would say, first of all, a lot of men are in abusive relationships with their women. Their women are abusive to them, like psychologically and emotionally abusive. So that's why they have that fear to begin with, right? If you're a man and you have a thought or you have a feeling or a desire and you're scared to bring it to your wife, or you have a truth and you're scared to bring it to your wife because of how she might react, then you're in an abusive situation. Okay, that's number one. So the first step is you need to seek some help first. So like talking to me as a coach or somebody else who's proficient to help you understand some of the reasons why you would choose to be in a situation like that to begin with. Like why are you with in a relationship, a marriage where you're scared to present yourself to your wife, right? And it's not just your wife, you're scared to present it to other people as well. So we need to dig at that and find out what trauma within you is preventing you from stepping and living in your truth, right? And so after we uncover that, then we can work on a strategy for how you begin to approach your wife and talk to her about her truth. Because, like I said, a lot of these men are in an abusive situation. Either the woman's going to go off on them, or she's gonna act like she's being victimized because you're expressing your truth, right?
Yep,
Like like the thing about monogamy, what I hate about the toxicity of monogamy, if you even express something like that, people act like you know what I'm saying, like you've just killed somebody. So
totally.
they get totally in their victim mindset. They start going off like you hurt their feelings. Why would you say this? Why would you do this? They would automatically assume you're out fucking everybody in the street. It's just a mess. So that's what I hate about monogamous culture because that's considered normal. But we would work out a strategy for how you would tell your wife and how to deal with potential backlash when she maybe tries to, villainize you for speaking your truth. So that's how I would go about it. The other way is, you all could both go to counsel. So you could both go to counsel and, with somebody that you're going to be accountable to. So maybe in the coaching session you express like, yeah, I would like to have other sexual relationships. And maybe your wife is cool inside that coaching session, that counseling session, right? But she might terrorize you at home for bringing that truth, right? So you need somebody who can hold her accountable. So you're not kind of in an abusive situation. So she's not treating you poorly, withholding sex. Now she's not feeding you. Now she's not treating you right. Now she's not, you see what I'm saying? Like, so somebody can hold her accountable and also help her through her stuff that she's going through with that. You see what I'm saying? Because she's probably not used to hearing a man speak his truth. She probably avoided those men, like avoided men who like spoke their truth. Like, this is what it is. This is who I am. Like those women probably avoided those men. So they found men who weren't willing to be authentic or speak their truth, right? Which we call, and oftentimes we call those beta males. You see what I'm saying? So she probably needs to be supported in that. Like, why wouldn't you choose a man who is firm in who he is? And it's going to say things that might hurt your feelings, but you'd be okay with it. The same way I said that men have to work through the rejection complex and learn to be rejected and be okay with that because that's a life thing. Women have to learn as they're growing up that you're going to hear things that are going to shatter the fantasy of what you've been told relationships are. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm saying? Like, as a little girl, you got a fantasy of being the princess and Prince Charming's going to come get you and it's going to be like this and that. And yeah, as you get older, some of that falls away, but a lot of that stays intact. That's why a lot of women have so much issues in like finding relationships and finding, happy marriages because they're still partially in that fantasy. And so they need someone who's going to support them like, look, it's okay to let go of some of the childish beliefs we have about humanity and about relationships and about marriage. You see what I'm saying? And so they're going to need support in that. So it's a complex thing that to me the basis of it is support. You need support, and the men need education and coaching.
Yeah. So on the one hand, the men, yes, they fear that the wife will divorce them and trash them publicly and all of that. But also, a lot of men also believe that it's wrong. Like they shouldn't be with multiple women, like because of their religious upbringing and whatnot. Like even though they want to do it, even though they are doing it, like inside of themselves, like they feel guilty. They feel like I shouldn't even be wanting to do this. So because of that guilt as well, they can't bring themselves to tell their wife because they already feel that they're bad for wanting multiple women. So how can
Absolutely.
men overcome the guilt?
Well, yeah, I think men overcoming the guilt of that is the re-education. Like
Mhm.
saying, look, the fact that you're cheating on her, that is a violation. So we'll deal with that later. You see what I'm saying? But before we deal with the fact that you're cheating on her and deceiving her, let's deal with your shame around it. You see what I'm saying? Let's deal with the fact that your desires to have sexual connection are okay, they're natural, they're normal. Like we've had a discussion before about polarity dying in a relationship because two people are just on top of each other 24/7, right? So like letting the men know, like here's what might have happened inside your marriage. Like if you all spent a lot of time together, then that might have killed some of the polarity and you felt like that lack of attraction, might have meant something in terms of your sexual connection to your woman. You see what I'm saying? Or, letting him know, like, look, it's normal for you to have these other attractions. The fact that you feel that way is not a violation of your relationship or your marriage. It doesn't mean you don't love your wife. You see what I'm saying? So, like, that re-education, I think, is very important for men. Um, I think really that's the key. Unfortunately, the culture of monogamy is what really upholds that shame. You see what I'm saying? Because it tells you that you're wrong. It tells you that you should never even have like basically any kind of attraction or love feelings for other people outside your wife or husband. And that's just totally unrealistic. And the other thing we talked about earlier was the whole religious thing. Like it's like, look, you know what I'm saying? It's not a sin to have attractions. It's not a sin for your sexual attraction to your husband or wife to ebb and flow over time. Like there's no shame in that. That's not something that, you should think is going to send you to hell or whatever. Like we need to like really help people get out of this stronghold that religion has on their minds and their brains. You see what I'm saying? So I think that's a part of it too.
Yeah. One of the things that most attracts me to you, I mean, it triggers me, but it also makes me want to have sex with you, is that you're very direct in the way that you speak to me. And, I mean, we've recorded some of those episodes where you're very direct with me, and sometimes people were horrified that I was allowing you to speak to me in that way. And but that's part of what attracts me to you is that you don't hide your truth from me. You tell me what it is and what it isn't. And yes, sometimes it hurts my ego, it hurts my animal, but it also makes me want to have sex with you even more. And I don't
Uh,
know if a lot of men understand that.
no, most men don't understand that. And I've always tried to express that to men. It's like if you tell a woman just like what it is, like she'll appreciate that more than you hiding your truth from her. You see what I'm saying? Like, and it seems counterintuitive because of the way we've been cultured, where women have been painted as like very fragile and weak. And that's not true. Like I try to explain, like women are fierce, bro. Like they'll cut your throat in a minute. They're strong, they're tough, they can handle more than you can even imagine. Yes, women have been raised inside the fantasy of relationships. And so it's hard to hear that the fantasy is not true, right? That the Disney stuff and all the kind of stuff they sell us. But no, women want to know like, who are you really? What's the real deal with you? And they
Mhm.
really appreciate that. Like women really appreciate authenticity. They really appreciate truth because at the end of the day, they want to be able to express their truth.
Mhm.
Like, and if a man is able to do that with her, she's going to feel she'll have more permission to do that with him.
Mhm.
Because the truth is, what a lot of men don't understand is like most women that you're dealing with, pretty much all, but I'll say at least most, they're all hiding a whole bunch of shit from you, bro. Like there's a lot that women do not say to men. I'm talking about girlfriends, wives, love, whatever. You see what I'm saying? Like there's a lot they're not telling you. Like the truth of you all sexuality. They might big you up in certain ways, but there's a lot of things that they they have issues with or that they really want you to do that you're not doing or stuff like that. And but they're scared to tell you because they don't want you to get offended or emotional or break up with them or whatever. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of men don't understand that. Like in these marriages, because we're talking about men and infidelity, but these women, a lot of women, like, they chose men that they really don't even like love like that. You're saying, like, they're like, I'm choosing you because society is telling me, like, this is who I should marry. But
Yeah.
are you my first choice? No. Are you my third or fifth? No.
Mhm.
You're the one who said yes. You're the one who pursued me, X, Y, and Z. Like a lot of men don't know that. You
Hmm,
see what I'm saying? A lot of men think that these women, um, think that you're my number one sexual experience of all time. Dude, you're not even in the top 10, bro.
hmm,
But she'll still marry you because she wants the family and the love and those types of things. So I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of deceit inside monogamous culture, inside these marriages. Men don't understand that. Their perspective of women is skewed.
hmm,
And I've always said this rule. Here's the rule. The rule is if you're a man and you want to know how much your woman is holding back from you, it's the same exact quantity as what you're holding back from her.
oh, wow.
You see what I'm saying?
Ooh,
Like, because you all are mirrors of each other. So the
hmm,
degree to which you're hiding stuff from her, she's hiding stuff from you. You see what I'm
hmm,
saying? That's why I always know, like, in terms of like any woman I'm with, I'm like, I know that you're holding back certain things from me because I'm holding certain things back from you. So it's like, what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going into it thinking one thing when it's really another. So I
wow.
think monogamous culture is so toxic and it doesn't teach us the truth about who we are as men and women. And we try to uphold these roles in marriages and relationships, and it just falls to crap. It's just a complete shit show.
Another male public figure who has that very sort of direct energy about him. I don't know what all his views are. I don't follow him. I don't really even care. But just when I've seen like images of him, he just has that energy about him, and that's Andrew Tate. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. He's majorly,
Absolutely.
yeah, like he's sexy. Like he has a sexiness about him. He's very direct. He feels very masculine to me. I'm not saying he has everything correct, but like he feels very masculine. Does that make sense to you?
Absolutely. Yeah. Andrew Tate, he's so first of all, very masculine presenting, right?
Mhm,
Um, and he engages in behavior that is masculine, traditionally masculine. So the fact that he's a kickboxer and MMA fighter and all that kind of stuff, the fact that he works out regularly, but he's also very expressive in his truth. You know what I
mhm,
mean? And that shit takes courage. Like he's saying things that literally, um, I would say 98% of the male population is scared to say.
yeah.
Although they have the same beliefs, right? They would never say the things that he's saying publicly
Mm,
or even to their friends or family. You see what I'm saying? So to speak in that way, with a lot of confidence, a lot of force, it's very masculine, and that's going to be very attractive to women. So women
mm,
are going to be drawn to him. So even though that a lot of women won't like his philosophy, right?
mhm,
Especially towards women, they're still going to be drawn to him. So he'll always have a lot of women around him. You see
mhm,
what I'm saying? Because it's really not about the philosophy. Like that's not the top thing. The top thing is your energy and how you present.
mm,
And are you authentic? Are you in your truth? And unapologetically so, even if you're wrong.
mm,
You see what I'm saying? So yeah, he's a lot of men follow him. A lot of men agree with him. But most men don't have the courage to really say the things he's saying and present that way. And he'll always be chosen by women. That's all there is to it.
mhm. So my next question to you is, how can men cultivate dark masculine energy? How can men be irresistible to women?
Well, just what we said. I mean, if a man's willing to speak his truth,
Mhm,
be authentic about it, speak out loud about it, follow what he believes, be willing to grow, be willing to learn, be willing to connect with women because you can't be a dark masculine and not connect with women
mhm,
because the one of the secrets of the dark masculine is like a feminine element. You see what I'm saying? Like the fact that he is, when you break down the word dark masculine, so the masculine is obvious, right? But the dark part, that's really a feminine element because
mhm,
dark governs femininity. So black is a feminine color, blue is a feminine color, green's a feminine color. The the masculine colors are red, purple, and orange. You see what I'm
mhm,
saying? So part of the darkness of the dark masculine is like a feminine element. It's a power element there. So yeah, men, if he's connecting with women, listening to what they're saying, like taking their feedback and incorporating that into his life, then I think that's really going to support him. You have to learn to be like a master of sexuality. You can't be somebody who's like strictly porn based. So
Mhm.
to me, if you want to like really become a dark mouse, and you got to expand your sexuality, on understanding of sexuality, and be willing to learn and try new things and be willing to grow, that kind of thing. Um, you got to be goal oriented. You got to, be willing to challenge yourself. You got to be willing to transmute, your pain into the things you're trying to manifest in your life. So I said earlier about the rejection initiation men go through. That's one of the first initiations of the dark masculine, which is like, look, I got rejected and it hurts, but I'm going to use that hurt to help me be more attractive to women. Like, I'm going to use that hurt to improve. I'm going to use that hurt to be stronger. You see what I'm saying? Like, so if you're able to transmute that into, success, then that's a dark masculine path. Like, the whole transmutation is a big dark masculine thing. Those men, like these, like, look at the women who are talking about the dark masculine. It's all negative. There's a whole dating and coaching industry around basically dissing the dark masculine. He's
Yes.
avoidant, all this kind of stuff. He's narcissistic. These are all things that women have created to help them feel better about their lack of success with dark masculine men, right? So these men are constantly being criticized. So
Mhm.
the fact that they can take that criticism and then turn it into like getting more pussy, you see what I'm saying? Or turn it into like making more money. Like, that's a key to being a dark masculine.
Mhm.
Not being hurt by what women say and that kind of stuff, but incorporating the feedback and
Mhm.
taking what's good and throwing the rest away and not getting your feelings hurt. So that's a dark masculine path.
That's so powerful. Like, wow. And I've seen you do this all these years that I've known you, Rakim, not just in terms of being rejected by women, not really even that, but like, going on Dr. Phil and having Dr. Phil like just, trash you, on national TV and doing your TV show, Seeking Brother Husbands and having millions of people trash you and insult you and call you all kinds of names for the whole world to see. And like going through all of that again and again and again, people dissing you constantly, and you still stand in your truth. Like that is so fucking sexy to me. Like, do you understand that?
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I mean, um, that's very hard to do. Like, a lot of times when I watch YouTubers and influencers, sometimes they go through like a really hard time and people are really, really dissing them hard for their stance or their views or something they said. And when they hit that wall, I watch to see how they're going to respond. And in
Mhm.
my mind, I'm saying, like, dude, like, they're saying all these things about you, but so the fuck what? Like, keep going. But a lot of these people, they just like end up disappearing because of the feedback they're getting, like the negative feedback they're getting. So I don't know if you've seen that happen. This happened to somebody recently. I can't remember who it was.
Okay.
But I was watching an influencer online and they were getting hammered, man. Um, and they kind of like they took the criticism and just like internalized it and got depressed and like pulled away from what they were doing.
Mhm.
And my thing is like, that's what you need to move forward. I've seen some influencers do it, like Tasha K, for example.
Mhm.
She's an influencer. She got hammered. She got sued by Cardi B. She lost a
Oh yeah.
lawsuit, all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. And she disappeared for a second, but then she came back strong. I'm like, yeah, that's what you got to do. Like, fuck what these people are talking about. You see what I'm saying? Like, fuck these individuals. You see what I'm saying? Like, most of them are losers. That's why they're criticizing you in the first place.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? They should be applauding you for like being brave enough to stand inside your truth and speak your mind. You see what I'm saying? I saw it with somebody else too. Like, I just seen people get trashed and hammered. Some people disappear. Some people stand in it. Andrew Tate's one of those people that stood in it. He
Yeah.
got trashed. He got put in jail. All these types of things. And he came back and he's like still doing videos. He got banned from every social media platform, and he's
Yeah.
still doing his thing. You see what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
that's an example. That's how you transmute the energy.
Mhm.
So that's a big deal for me. I'm not going to say it's easy. It's not, because that's just depressing. Like, reading millions of comments and people just trashing you and calling you all kind of stuff.
Mhm.
But you have to go through that initiation. Kenya did the same thing. She's reading the comments. She's like, it was so funny in the early days watching her like answer the comments online. This is back in the day, like 2012. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She's like, she's trying to address every comment. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, Kenya, like, fuck these motherfuckers. But no, but she really grew and developed like a really tough skin. You know
Mm.
what I mean? Like she give a fuck what these people are talking about now. And you got to go through it. That's all there is to it. Oh, Kenya K.
Another person who I think has developed a tough skin, in my opinion, and I don't follow her that closely. I don't know any of her songs. I don't listen to her music, but I'm really impressed by her lately, and that is Cardi B. And I just think she's so sexy and she's so feminine because she is pregnant for a man that is not her husband. She's still married to her husband technically. And the man that she's having the baby with, he's also having like three other babies with like three other women or like just and she's just like she's just like with him. Like she doesn't give a fuck. She's excited to have her fourth baby. You know, he seems to be committed to her rather than the other women that are pregnant by him. And like she's just doing her thing. And I'm just like, wow.
Yeah. Cardi B has always been authentic. I remember watching her on whatever show she was on. There was a reality show she was on a long time ago. I remember watching that for the first time. I'm like, man, this woman is like really speaking her truth. She's the only person on the whole show who's keeping it real. You see what I'm saying? So I remember watching that. I'm like, man, this woman is special. And then when she got famous, with the music and all that, I'm like, she kind of stayed in that vibe. She's always been very vulnerable about her history. She's like, yeah, I had low self-esteem, so I got my ass done and my breasts, and I was a stripper, and I dated guys who were no good. Like she was always so authentic. It was
Yeah.
incredible to watch. I love that about her. You know what I'm saying? I really love her authenticity. Um, she is a very dedicated woman. She is a very strong wife vibe. Like she's more of a divine feminine, you know,
Mhm.
very strong devotee vibe. Like family's very important to her. Loyalty is very important to her. But at the same time, she's also sexually open, sexually free, sexually expressive.
Mhm.
So I really like who she is as a person. In terms of her being with, you know, this new guy while
Stefan
she's still
Diggs.
married. Yeah, Stefan Diggs. I mean, the marriage is over between her and Offset. I mean,
Mhm.
Offset is a child. Like that dude needs some support. He needs some counseling, some coaching. Really bad representation of the masculine. Like he really did not show up. The fact that she chose him, she needs some support too. The fact that you would choose to be with a man like that and be married to a man like I get the sex was good, but he's too immature and he's
Mhm.
got so much damage. Like he really needs some support. So, but that marriage is over. You see what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So, the fact that she's with somebody else and pregnant, that doesn't matter. Like,
Mhm.
it's not when a
Well,
divorce is
here's the
legal, it's
thing.
when the marriage
Yeah.
is actually over.
Here's the thing though about Cam, like people are coming at her hard because they're saying like out of the frying pan into the I don't know how the saying is, but like they're saying, okay, yeah, Offset cheated on her, but like look at the guy that she's with now. Like he has all these women pregnant by him.
Yeah, but it's a different scenario. So Offset was her husband. You know what I'm saying? So it's one thing when your husband is just is a serial chronic cheater. You see what I'm saying? It's different when you're dating somebody or whatever, but your husband, somebody you're sharing a house with and sharing finances with and all that, like that's that's crazy to me. You see what I'm saying? Now, Stefan Diggs, they're not him and Cardi are not married. Maybe they will. I don't know. But again, Stefan is being honest about who he is. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't think he ever told Cardi, "You're gonna be my only woman." You see what I'm saying? Like, so she's not come out and said that he's lied to her, like Offset did.
Yeah.
So it's not. It's a different situation. He's being authentic. He's gonna keep doing what he's doing. She's being authentic. She wants to be with him. She's attracted to him, and I'm sure she's stigmatized and the whole thing. So it's a different situation. Now, if they were married and he promised to be fidelitous to her, and then he's still cheating and having babies outside the marriage, well, that's a different scenario. But that's not their scenario. So no, she's in a place where she's in control of her scenario. She's living the life she wants to live. She's dating who she wants to date, and she's doing it under her terms. I don't feel she's caught off guard with Stefan Diggs having babies outside the marriage. I think that's who he's always been.
Okay, wow. Yeah, he feels like a more cultivated dark feminine in the sense that, like you said, he's not lying. He's like, he didn't lie. Like, I have never heard her say at any point in time that he deceived her about these other women and these other pregnancies. So it sounds like he's pretty upfront about who he is and what he does. But people are like, but they can't understand, like, how, okay, they're like, they don't seem to understand, like, how could she choose a man who is upfront about the fact that he's a man whore? Like, how does, like, people don't get that.
Well, Cardi wants to have good sex. She's
Mhm.
always said that that's important to her. And it's important to her to be with somebody that she's attracted to. The Stephon Diggs is an NFL player. Like his body is chiseled, is damn near perfect, right? He's probably what, like 6'3", 6'4", or I don't know what he is, but very well built, whatever.
Mhm.
He's rich.
Yeah.
Probably fucks her 2, 3 times a day when they're together. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Um, that's what she wants. You
Mhm.
see what I'm saying? Like, I don't see what the issue is with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think she's very clear. Now, again, I'm sure she does probably want to be with him exclusively, like in her heart. But we all want that on whatever level. That's a human thing. We all want some level of being exclusive with our partner,
Mhm.
right? We just all feel that way as human beings, and that's fine. But I think she's good. I
Mhm.
think she chose somebody who makes her feel happy.
Mhm.
And again, the fact that he's got money and can spoil her and support her in different ways, I think it's important. So I don't have an issue with it. The men who are complaining, these are the men we were talking about earlier, the incels, the beta male population, like the men who are mad at women in general. So anytime they see anything, we talked about Aisha Curry last call. Anytime they see the slightest little thing, these men just go off. You see what I'm saying? Like, and they take the opportunity to trash women and their choices. But this is a part of the women's empowerment movement. Like, women are free to choose to live the life they want to live. They don't got to do it inside the structure that you agree with. You see
Mhm.
what I'm saying? So this is how it looks. This is what freedom looks like.
Mhm.
In the same way Stephon Diggs is living his truth outside of marriage and all that, you know what I'm saying? Cardi B can do the same thing. So I don't see the issue.
It's not just, it's a lot of women that are complaining, that are saying all kinds of vile shit on Instagram, because like the women are like, well, he's gonna have to pay child support to all these different baby mothers. And but you know what? The other thing that's interesting though, I want to add in is that I've seen the pictures of his baby mothers and they're all drop dead gorgeous. Like every woman that he has impregnated is a 10 out of 10. Every single one. And I'm
Yeah.
like, damn, like this guy, like I mean, I'm impressed. I'm really impressed with Stephon Diggs. But
Yeah,
yeah, going
but
back to my question, a lot of women are like, they're trying to somehow, I guess, try to convince Cardi or shame her into feeling that Stephon Diggs is no good.
well, so here's the thing. Number one, Stephon Diggs is a 10 out of 10.
Mm.
So you can look at him, he's a handsome guy.
He
Okay.
is. He is.
So he's dating women on his level. Okay.
Mm.
Now, a lot of athletes, they don't do that. A lot of athletes are not as handsome as he is, but
Okay.
they're still trying to date tens. And they think because they're athletes and because they're rich, that these women are going to respect them and love them in the same way. And that's not the case.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So to me, he's on his level.
Okay.
So we can talk more about that later. But number two, the women that you're talking about, we talk about beta males, these are beta females. You see what I'm saying? Like, again, there's all this is idea like women are, you know what I'm saying? Women automatically are elevated in their thinking when it comes to like love and relationships. No, there's in the same way there's a bunch of men that are mad at women, there's a bunch of women that are mad at men. And both of these groups represent groups of people who have almost zero success in relationships and marriage. They're unhappy, they're not getting the sex they want, they're chronic masturbators. Um, they're just not getting what they want. So they're lashing out at anything that they see. So when they see Stephon Diggs with a bunch of women, they're going to lash out at him and say, "This is the problem with the patriarchy. He's not a good father, not a good husband, not a good man in general." So no, these women who are lashing out, these are not empowered women. These are not elevated women. These are women who are upset, they're bitter, they're angry, and they have no success of being happy inside of a marriage or being sexually fulfilled inside of a marriage. So they have to judge other people. That's what they've been, that's what they're doing. And so no, I mean, just because women are saying it, most of these women out here who are criticizing men in that way have issues, major issues. They haven't had good relations with men at all, including their father. So they're chronically mad at men.
Huh.
You see what I'm saying? So we have
Whew.
these two groups in the country. There's these men who are angry and these women who are angry. And again, both of these populations are going to destroy the whole country. They will rip the entire earth apart
Mm,
until they get what they want. And a lot of these women they want, fulfilling marriages and relationships. And a lot of the men they want access to sex.
mm. Wow. The battle of the genders is what they call it, right?
And it's always been there. It's just heightened because of social media. And a
Mm,
lot of the people who are most proficient on social media just happen to be a part of that beta population, that angry population. Like they're really good on social media. They get
mm,
out there and they bitch and they complain about fucking everything. And
mm,
and because it's so passionate and has so much energy behind it, people are drawn to it. And they mistake the energy that they have and their ability to speak with truth. So you
mm,
unfortunately got a lot of women who should not be listening to these ladies who are
mm,
listening to them.
mm,
You know what I'm saying? And you have a lot of men who are listening to some of these male influencers who again who are incels. They're not like a lot of the male influencers I see, like I'm looking at them, I can see like you guys don't get any women.
mm.
Like you guys are literally incels, but you're online. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
And
can I
because you're
can
so
look at
angry,
I can look at Nick Fuentes and just I know right away he's not having sex.
and you can tell how it affects his worldview.
Mm,
Like you're talking about women like there's some kind of commodity or something.
mm,
You know what I'm saying? Like, we could heal the world if we just get everybody together and let's just have sex and love each other. You see what I'm saying? Like, you guys are too tense.
mm,
It's just too much. Like, relax.
mm,
Go enjoy your compliment.
mm,
Have some fun. And then let's come back and talk about your worldview. I
mm,
guarantee it'll be changed and shifted, at least a little bit.
mm. Yeah. My last question for you is I really would like your opinion about what's happening in America right now. Because when I look at Instagram and I see all these airports and like major airports, Houston, LA, like where it's just completely crowded and the TSA people are just not working because they're not getting paid and people are not getting their SNAP payments and people are lined up for miles for the pantry or the food bank or whatever. And like, Donald Trump meanwhile is having like this lavish, dinner, like what the fuck is going on in America?
Yeah, I mean, we have the government shutdown. I think it's about to end though, unfortunately.
Hmm.
But um, yeah, I mean, the bottom line is the country is being ramsacked right now. See, what you're observing is the downfall of America as the leading empire in the world. This is what it looks like. Like a bunch of infighting. It looks like people fighting over scraps and political discord and a bunch of movements and stuff like that. So that's what's happening to America. We're falling down the ladder in terms of our status in the world, in terms of our prosperity and those types of things. And this is what it looks like when that happens. But yeah, it's just the government shutdown, and the Democrats and Republicans are fighting over just things like healthcare. Trump and the Republicans passed a bill that's going to just destroy a lot of people.
Mm,
It's going to take away a lot of the healthcare benefits that people have. It's a lot of tax breaks for the rich people, the top, 1, 2% in this country. It's going to be tax increases eventually for most Americans. And so people are just unhappy. But again, it's just a decline of the empire. I think in America, we hit our height maybe in the 70s or maybe the 80s. Um, and then we've been on a kind of like a decline since then. So it's been a slow decline, but kind of a decline since then. And we're witnessing one aspect of that decline, and a lot of fighting and fighting inside the country, and a lot of instability, like a lot of plane crashes and stuff like that. That's all because of the cuts that the Republicans have made to the FAA and the firings and all kinds of stuff. Like we're kind of falling apart, slowly falling apart, and that's what you're witnessing.
mm. Does that scare you?
No, it doesn't really scare me. I mean, it's sad from one standpoint because I remember. America from a different lens growing up. Like we were
Mhm.
just like I remember growing up and my view of the president, like I felt he was like Superman. You know
Mm.
what I'm saying? Like to me, they were one and the same. Like as a child, I felt the president of the United States was basically the embodiment of who Superman was as a character. And felt really good about the country, even though we had a ton of problems back then, but like felt really good about the country. I felt like, yeah, we're definitely number one in so many ways, on so many levels. Like we're getting closer to real equality in terms of, black people and white people and the sexes and all that. Like I felt really good about our trajectory. At this point, it's kind of sad to look at other countries like China, like how they're just kicking our ass in terms of technology, how their
Yeah.
people are a lot happier, how they have guaranteed like health care and how they have this rent control thing in place. Like the basics of life in China and certain other countries are just so far advanced to where the United States is.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of sad to see that. Am I scared about it? Yeah, a little bit, because there could possibly be some unrest. There could possibly be
Mhm.
some civil war. I've seen people around me who I think are scared of it, especially a lot of women I know.
Mm.
They're really kind of stressed out about it. Like they're
Wow.
not speaking about it directly, but you can tell that the uncertainty in this country has affected them. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying? There's a lot more bold racism in this
Mm.
country now, stuff like that. So again, you're seeing the decline of an empire, and everybody knows what it is. That's why you see China being more bold, you see Russia being more bold, even African countries like Burkina Faso, like they're telling Europe to go fuck yourself. Like so, it's like you just see other countries rising up, um, where before, when I was younger, you wouldn't even think about that happening. Like nobody would tell America to their face like to go fuck yourself, and that you guys are a declining country, and that like there was a Chinese clip I was watching. They were teasing America because we have so much poverty and so much homelessness. They're saying like, look at America, like it's just a trash country. You see what I'm
Mm.
saying? They were using the homelessness as an example. They're like, we're not worried about their military. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, man, that's pretty bold. Like, you would never hear that back in the 70s and 80s. You see what I'm saying? But now you're hearing it. It's just kind of sad. But it is what it is. Until America actually, America has a lot of internal work to do when it comes to like racism and
Mhm.
sexism. And until we're able to face that as a nation, then we're gonna continue to decline because we really have the tools to be the greatest forever, but we don't respect each other. We don't, whites don't respect blacks and our and what we bring to the table and vice versa. And it's just a lot of things need to happen, including like with the reparations thing. Like that has to happen. Like you got to deal with your past. You can't run from it. And there's just a really strong movement against things like that, and against reparations for Native Americans and stuff like that. So it's just we got a long way to go, but I think we're probably not going to get there. I think we're just going to, end up having a hard time for the next 100 years.
Oh, wow. Ooh, I have a survey job where I survey Americans about politics. And one of the questions that usually comes up in the survey is, what do you think is the biggest issue facing America? And if they're, a MAGA person, they'll usually say illegal immigrants or illegal aliens. If they're a Democrat, um, I can't remember what they would normally say. I think they just hate Trump. But I asked this one man in Texas, and I was really blown away by his answer. And he was a white man. And I was like, what do you think is the biggest problem? Or, what do you think we need to work on the most? And he said that the races need to learn how to understand each other and communicate with one another. That's what we need.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
I was blown away. I was just so blown away because like hearing that from a white man in Texas, Republican country, like it touched me. I was like, wow. And then he told me like when he was younger, like in the 50s, when they would have like the football game, like there was like the cheerleaders were not integrated. So there was black cheerleaders and there was white cheerleaders and they were separate. And he said, so when the white cheerleaders would come out, the white audience would cheer. And then when the black cheerleaders would come out, the black audience would cheer. And that's just the way it was. And I was
Absolutely.
like, wow, that is so crazy. Like they couldn't even integrate the cheerleaders. Like, oh my God, like wow. And so like he's coming from that. He's like, he's like in his 60s. And he's like, yeah, the races need to learn how to understand each other,
Absolutely.
or we're not
I
going to get anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're going to keep praying for them in Pantheon. We know we do the World Healing Ceremony the first Sunday of each month, where we meditate and pray, for the world and for the government and for the people. And so we're working on that, and we'll continue to do that work to bring us all together.
Beautiful. So, Rakim, where can people find you, follow you, hire you?
Yeah, they can go to my Instagram, look under Carl Stevens or Rakem Sekou, RAKHEMSEKU, and click the link in my bio for all my services and websites. And you can also email me directly, rakemseku@gmail.com.
Thank you so much for answering all of my questions, Rakim. You were so wonderful.
Thank you. I appreciate it. See you next time.
Bye.